Hey, I'm Jason from Fuzzlord, and today in this video we're hanging out with Elliot, the bassist and vocalist for the Portland-based doom metal band Negra. I got to catch up with him after their show opening for Windhand in Portland at the Aladdin Theater. In this video I got to talk to him about his inspirations for music, got to check out his bass, his amplifier, and his whole pedal board setup, as well as hearing some riffs. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think of Elliot's gear setup at some point during this video. And if you're a bass player, drop a comment below and let people know what's working well for you in your bass rig. If you want to check out more from Negra, you can head on over to their Instagram page at Negra Band, or check out their music on their Spotify page. We're going to start off this video with hearing a clip of Negra's music, then we're going to jump into the interview. Thanks for coming down.
Of course, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I was curious to know how opening up for Windhand was at the Aladdin Theater. That was a really good show.
Dreamy, like amazing culmination of a lot of work and kind of determination that we as a band had kind of fought through over the last few years just to get paired with a band that means so much to us and put on a show with them, you know, giving people those two different looks at doom and heavy music.
For sure.
I thought was going to be amazing, and it was. It was
a good turnout.
Yeah.
The audience was really into these guys.
It was probably the most exposure that we ever had in one kind of sitting, and it was just awesome. And then also having folks there who, like, that wasn't their first introduction to us.
Uh-huh.
Like, that felt really, like, cool to kind of know that was scattered in there too.
For sure.
So yeah, it was great. But also getting to tell, like, a couple of those dudes, like, that, like, their band was the reason why this band exists.
Okay.
That was the agreeable kind of element that kind of like that kind of kept us, it kind of sew us together. Like that was the angle on heavy music that we wanted to take. So yeah, it was great.
So that leads me into something else I wanted to ask you. Like, who were some of your influences or bands that got you into playing music in general? Also, like, the inspirations for Negra.
For myself, outside of this music, Soundgarden comes to mind. 9 Inch Nails, for me, is the state of the art at all times.
For sure.
They are always presenting us with what can be done. For me, playing bass has kind of like tuned my ears differently. I'm now listening out for different things.
Okay.
So I'm definitely listening to like a lot more things that like I grew up overhearing in the back seat of like my mom's or my aunt's car.
Okay.
Like the stuff that was on like The Quiet Storm, like the 90s R&B.
Cool. Nice.
Has like just listening to the bass development and those kind of cues. And my wild card would probably be Linkin Park, because Chester taught me how to sing. He was the basis of my knowledge and desire to want to be a vocalist.
So this is when you're quite a bit younger, like a teenager?
Way younger. Yeah. So I try to not leave them out of that conversation, even though, like, as I've gotten older, I've gotten away from that music.
Yeah.
I've always kind of remembered that, like, I didn't want to sing in a band or be in a band. until I like heard someone do something like what he
Nice.
was doing. And then for for this band, for Luna Negra, in the kind of place that I'm in now, making music, Al Ciceros is a start for bass. I hadn't even considered playing bass in a band until a couple years ago. A friend got me a role as a stagehand for the Sciences tour. So going out with them every night for 14 days or so, and seeing them accomplish sonically what they accomplished on stage was like incredible. And I kind of returned home with this like kind of desire to play that role. Then for this band, so Sleep's the one you want to talk about, that comes up a lot. Windhand is a real, that's the vibe that we want to put out always. And if there was just a third band, because there's like a ton of bands, I want to say Converge.
Okay. You got a pretty wide array of different stuff you're into, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it took me a long time to figure out Doom as a genre.
Yeah.
To understand what it was made of. And then to better understand what I was attempting to accomplish as a musician, and finding out that it all lived in that world.
For sure.
And Converge, I can't really like say it's their entire catalog. It's when I hear the name Converge, I only think of the song "You Fail Me." That song like lives in my head,
Nice.
like a sad teenager. It just lives in there. An honorable mention, I'd probably say Chariot, the Chariot. They're not an active band,
Okay.
but they're all the different members, I think, all do different things. Josh Gogan has that band 68. And that was just a big band. That's probably the band that has the longest carryover of being so inspired by them as a teen, and then the lore of what they did, and that how no one could really get that done in comparison, and then wanting to somehow implement that kind of energy into what I'm doing now.
You've been playing music since you were a teenager?
I've been in bands since freshman year of high school.
So what was your first band?
It had two names. It started as, no, I'm actually not going to give the first name because that's embarrassing. It was called Static Decay.
All right.
And we were almost a glorified Linkin Park orgy cover band.
Nice.
And we were just trying to learn how to do that, but we really didn't know anyone that was doing that. We were playing to tape a lot of times.
Okay.
To get certain parts, put together. So we just went around winning talent shows. So yeah, Static Decay was the very first band.
Nice.
That I had.
What do you think looking back on that? Because we're both 90s kids.
Yeah.
And that kind of those genres was exactly what I wanted to play at first as a young teenager.
Yeah.
And then looking back on it now, I'm like, man, I couldn't have picked a harder kind of music to try to be playing with other young teenagers that didn't really,
Dude,
that were still learning everything,
I'd say the biggest speed bump that my music career ran into was trying to recreate Nine Inch Nails.
Okay.
And having no idea.
Like super technical music.
And being just nowhere near not having the knowledge base of even how some of those songs and how to program and just how things were. And I'm closer now.
Yeah.
But I've definitely learned from that, that like my taste in music and the music that I love creating and playing live can be different. I used to think they couldn't be different. That they were blueprints for each other, and it
like
wasn't.
What you're listening to has to be like.
Has to be what you're playing. I used to. That was a big. That really handicapped my growth as a musician and it wasn't until I like kind of realized what I was good at and what I enjoyed doing, versus like the anxiety of trying to recreate these things that I just thought that, if you loved it, you could do it. But it's just like, no, that's a special place, like, for them, like, and, maybe they couldn't do a doom band,
right.
So.
And it seems like a lot of artists, Kirk from Crowbar, he likes pop music.
Yeah.
I guess. So it's almost like if you spend too much time only listening to the genre you're playing, you're maybe getting too influenced and not doing your own creative thing.
You definitely miss out.
Yeah.
Like where I always describe as Nine Inch Nails as like the state of the art. Like you definitely miss out on what is happening, how people are using gear, what gear is actually useful. Like I'm really into the Marias right now.
Cool.
They were my 2024, 2025 surprise.
I say something comes out wrong, please forgive me.
They kind of took over my Spotify playlist, and there's just, there was just something about what they were doing, and you spend so much time, in a heavy genre, and we take craps on other genres that don't get close to the tonality, and I just started to realize I was really like missing out on some like real gems, and just couldn't deny artists like that anymore.
Sure.
So,
well, good. You got a well-rounded musical taste, man.
I like to. Bass helps. Like I said, bass really retunes your ears. Like you just start to hear and listen out for different things that are happening in arrangements. So yeah.
Well, speaking of, can we check out your bass?
Sure. My main. We brought one today. My main is the Rickenbacker 4003S.
So this is the one that has the mono output. It doesn't have the two.
Mono output, because I'm never going to use that second one. Never, ever. Just not in the cards for the kind of tone that I like to have and what I can get out of what I'm using. I guess the difference would be like it doesn't have the binding, that really uncomfortable binding.
Right.
I remember the first time I picked up a Rickenbacker, and I didn't get to enjoy it because of how uncomfortable it was.
For sure.
So I'm happy to, for $200 less, I'm really stoked about the kind of ergonomics of this bass. I guess it doesn't have the shark tooth inlay, but I'm cool with that too. And it's really great. It's a stable, piece of gear. I've taken the covers off because it's just kind of impossible to palm mute and kind of dig in or play with the pick in general, with those things there. And I don't think that the current versions of this guitar that are being produced, that those covers are actually doing anything. I think at some point they were doing something magnetic shielding or something, but I don't think they accomplish anything anymore. So I was happy to take those off. Stock pickups, they sound incredible up against an SVT.
Yes, you run an SVT, and then you run the 8x10. Just recently, you picked up a 2x15.
Yes,
also.
yes, and I since the start of this band, I had always done the SVT and 2 810s.
Okay.
And that was in an effort to be able to turn up, because when you're splitting the wattage, I don't want to get the science wrong, but I'm guessing that when you split the wattage, like you're just kind of giving each cabinet less, and so that was really giving me an opportunity to not be so hot out of those
For sure.
8, and I was really enjoying that.
And probably moving a lot more air that way.
Yeah. It's just great. But what I was looking for was an opportunity. Research was telling me that a 15 was something that I needed to look into combining with the 810s. So I was just really fortunate that a local shop, Hank's Music Exchange in Portland, just so happened to have this Sun 215, and it's been added to the rig, and I've had really great results with it. It really complements what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You guys sound great at the Aladdin. I was right up front and definitely getting the full force of your bass rig.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being there.
Yeah.
Because that was actually cool to kind of look and be like, dude, Fuzzlord. Like, I know that guy. Yeah, that was such a cool show. That was the second time I'd run that rig with the 810 and the 215. And I was so glad that I worked out the kinks.
Yeah.
Because I literally had to work out the kinks the night before out here
Right.
when we played at John Henry's. And we've got a really good relationship with the engineer there. And we kind of like, at the end of the set, I was like, did you hear that? Like what was going on? Like, I know it was the 215, but like, is this amp dying? So he kind of, he heard it and he was able to like instantly place like, hey, this is what you need to dial out of this frequency, like, and I think you'll get the result that you want.
I overheard him talking to you, and it seemed like he's being really helpful, but he also seemed super stoked about you mixing the 15s with the 10s.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
he's
super
great.
Nice guy.
I've learned so much from the times that we've played there, and he's at front of house.
Nice.
He's a really good hang, and yeah, he's just like a wealth of knowledge. And
well, can we check out your pedalboard before we check out some riffs?
Sure. Starts back here with the Friedman buffer bay right here. One of the emphasis I had on this board was to clean up my sound and get rid of noise and to just provide good, solid, consistent power all the way through.
Okay.
And I was also switching to an effects loop chain, and which I will never not do. For as much time-based pedals as I use, I just think it's a no-brainer for signal. So this rig starts there, and then it jumps over to the Peterson stump tuner. From there, you're into my synth modulation section, which can be a little rotating, but right now this is what I feel really good about. So that's the Boss SY1, which is definitely one of the best synth tracking. The tracking is just flawless, which is tough to find, and I'm probably misusing it, but it's got a plethora of different options in there. Then I'm moving into the EHX bass monosynth. I was using the S9 for a really, really long time, and it was not very useful for bass. The presets that it had, I was using one.
Okay.
I was underusing the pedal, and the tracking was pretty bad. So from there, it's jumping over to the gate, the center gate. Great gate, not too many knobs. I love the stuff you can download, but I don't use it. I use the hiss function. It's a really solid gate. That then jumps into the Damnation Audio Dirt Fixer, which has been like a revelation for my tone. I'll talk about that after we get to the Super Fuzz. When we're in the Super Fuzz, that is the heart of my fuzz sound. I've been through a lot of different fuzz pedals, distortion pedals, and that is the one that just does it all. And it does it all for like $30. So it's easy to replace. Then we're into the Keeley Moon. The Keeley Moon, I really like it. It does something that I think is similar to the Super Fuzz. And when I was having issues getting the Super Fuzz dialed in, I kind of went to it. So it's kind of a backup for maybe the studio situations, or I'm just in a situation where like the Super Fuzz just isn't like, I don't know, maybe we're not playing a show, we're just doing something else. I like to have it there and ready to go just in case. It's got this interesting compression to it that gives it a thump. But that in itself got eliminated because when I got the Dirt Fixer, it serves such a great purpose for when you're looking for fuzz for bass, because you're always looking for a pedal that balances fuzz and then has just enough bass in there to keep you like in the mix. Now I can get any fuzz pedal that I want at all and dial in the clean and the wet.
Okay, so that's a clean blend pedal.
Yeah.
And it also has an EQ on it?
Yeah, and you get to dial in the
cool.
two, and then you get to actually make a really original sound with the EQ.
Nice.
You're not really like just left with what you've kind of split hairs with the clean versus the dirty. Like you get to really dial it in and make it a real like bass tone.
So are you worried about using bass specific dirt pedals, or are you, I mean the Behringer's a guitar pedal, I think,
yes.
by design.
Yeah.
But as long as you got a clean blend or something, you can kind of try out different things and get your tone you're looking for.
I just don't want to lose, to answer your question, I don't want to lose the platform that I'm laying down for the guitars as the bass, because I so much want to be the melody guitarist or the rhythm guitarist. And there's just so many great fuzz pedals to explore that without something like that, some kind of routing, a lot of great fuzz pedals just get forgotten about. From the Fixer, then we go back into the gate, and then from the gate into the Audition, and then to the Audition, back to the Friedman interface. Friedman interface heads to the front of the amp, and that's my fuzz modulation world, pre time-based things. And then in my effects loop, I'm having the EHX volume pedal is the first pedal in my effects loop. But also that allows me to help out the next guy, which is the Street Driver, which is a Sans amp, DI, and a preamp, which I don't use too much live. I really use it in studio situations, but I look forward to using it more live. It's an incredible pedal. But that also allows me, having the volume pedal and the effects loop before it, allows me to, when I'm cutting or doing swells, I'm also cutting the clean line that I have running to the front of house. Whereas I'd done a few other different configurations and kind of forgot that, okay, well, I'm turning it off on the front of the amp, but it's still there on the back of the amp. So like I wasn't actually going silent. It was like you were hearing me pluck, but then you were hearing me swell in the effects versus swelling in the entire tone in the effects. Yeah. So it just works much better for me as at the head of the effects loop. From there, and then I put a little guess, being from the production world and miking up and getting bands ready to go on stage, I kind of just felt it was a good thing for me to just have a guest line that kind of came out the back versus trying to squeeze an XLR in there while you're trying to get folks on stage. I think it's a really great idea if you're not going to have your DI on the bottom. So from there, we're going into the Ocean's 11 reverb. I've had so much luck with it. For me, it's a fourth member of the band. Okay. For wanting to, everybody wants, well, not everyone, but I'd love for us to have a synth player, but we never really found that mixture.
I was talking to Chris about that too, and he's got some pedals too to kind of, the two of you come together real nicely and fill out the sound. Yeah,
we're definitely into that sound. And I've just had so much luck with that one. I think that was actually originally his, cool. And we did a pedal swap. We're going into the freeze sustainer. Reverb would usually for me be at the end, but when I get into my looping kind of world, I wanted something to put into the freeze that after I went into the DO4 and started looping, that I could have something, once I captured it, that I could have something else happening before it, feeding it still, but that I could also take out of, or that would still be there if I ended the loop on the DO4. So that's kind of the positioning of the freeze and the reverb. And the freeze, I mean, if I'm talking about the freeze, it's amazing. So then from there, we're into the DO4, and I love DO4s. First time I saw Minus the Bear, I knew I had to have one of those pedals. Nice. They do something that's obviously, crazy. But, if I could just get a fraction of that kind of firepower out of a looper, then I'm all for it. And then, I mean, outside of, it being kind of a legendary looper, then kind of just has its own sound. It's also a powerhouse of a delay modeler. I mean, it's chock full of tons of things. And then it's got back pages of alternates of you know, it's just filled with stuff, and it's even got like a whole page of reverbs in there.
Oh, nice.
That folks look over. And then this new one, this MK2 it's just better because it's lighter, and they took away the battery cavity, and they gave it a little bit of memory, and so yeah, I've had no problem with it. It's been great. It's been great to have this looper on the board. There we've got the Space Echo.
Classic.
I love the Space Echo. I'd originally bought that for a vocal effect board for myself, and once I realized that I could communicate the things that I wanted to front of house and get better results from what they were doing for my vocals, I gave up on the idea of doing the vocal board.
Right.
And then it was like, well, I still have this amazing pedal, and I had never really considered putting it on the board. And then when I did, I just never took it off. And it just does some really, really cool things. It does this little like tape thing.
I was wondering if you use the gas pedal.
Love it.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I love it. And now I understand what it's doing while I'm hearing it. Now I know like when I can kind of cut back into it.
Nice.
You know, it's great.
I got one last question for you about your board before we check out some riffs
Sure.
and stuff. Something that I think not enough people with pedal boards have in general that I noticed about your board, and I think Chris, the guitar player, had something similar.
Yeah.
The light.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I in another life, I was an LD. I was a lighting director.
Yeah.
So I'm all about killing the downstage lights.
For sure.
And living in that, and living in tons of smoke. So the one favor I can do for myself is to have a light on the board.
I want to give a big thank you to Elliot for making the time to come down and let me talk to him about music and let us all check out his bass guitar setup. Really appreciate you watching this video. Drop a comment below and let me know what you thought of Elliot's bass setup. Also, just want to give a big special thank you to everyone on Patreon whose names I'm running on the screen right now that helps make these videos possible. I really appreciate everyone's support, and if you want to know more about the Patreon page, you can check out the link in the description. We do pedal discounts over there, and I've got a bunch of free downloads over there like guitar tabs, cab sim, IR packs, as well as some drum packs you can download. Also want to give a special thank you to Derek, Warren, J-Kid, and Corey over on the Patreon page. Again, I really appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, or share it with a friend that's a bass player. I'm Jason from Fuzzlord. I'll talk to you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.